Listen and practice.
Voluntary work. In many countries, the government helps to care for people. Governments give money to workers like doctors and nurses. Sometimes, when there isn't enough money, more help is needed. More help is needed after an emergency, too. Volunteers give this help. Anyone can do voluntary work. Volunteers can be young or old. Many volunteers work with charities that help people all around the world. Some doctors and nurses fly thousands of kilometers to do voluntary work in another country. They work in hospitals or clinics for many weeks or months. They sometimes give vaccinations so that people do not get serious diseases. Every year in the USA, about 62 million people do voluntary work. About 8 million volunteers are 16 to 24 years old.
Listen and practice.
Teaching others. People who teach others do one of the most important jobs. Education helps people to get a better job and to have a better life. Education is important for everyone. When we are very young, we don't know much about anything. Our parents and other people in our family teach us many things at home. Before we go to school, they help us to eat, walk, talk, and play. They help us as much as possible at the start of our life.
Listen and practice.
At school. School teachers have a very special, important job. They get children ready for adult life. School teachers help very young children to read and write, and to do art and simple mathematics. They also teach older children subjects like geography, history, science, and languages. Many other people help in schools. Classroom assistants give more help to children who need it, for example, children who are disabled. In some schools, cooks make snacks and lunch for children and their teachers. Playground assistants help children to stay safe when they are in the playground. Sadly, many people in the world can't have a good education. Today, only about 82% of people who are more than 15 years old can read and write.
Listen and practice.
At college and university. Education isn't just for children. After school, many young people go to college or university. Some people go to college or university when they are older adults. Others study different subjects at home after work. Professors teach college and university students many different subjects, from architecture to zoology. One of the most popular university subjects is law. Professors need to know a lot about their subject so that they can help students to do well and get better jobs through life. One of the biggest universities is Indira Gandhi National Open University in India. It has about 2 million students.
Listen and practice.
Volunteer teachers. All around the world, there are volunteer teachers. Doing voluntary work is a wonderful way to see new places and meet new people. Volunteers also help many children and adults to learn information that can help them through their life. Volunteer teachers work in different ways. Some volunteers move to another country to teach there for a few months or years. Others stay in their own country. Maybe they go to a school for just 1 or 2 hours a week to help young children with subjects like reading and mathematics. Maybe they teach their country's language, for example, French, Spanish, or English, to people who move there from another country. Education doesn't stop after college or university. Trainers teach workers new information, for example, information technology or a new language, to help them to do their job better. Education really is for life.
Listen and practice.
Growing food. Some people are lucky because they have many different types of food to eat. In other places, people can't always grow or buy all the food that they need. Many people work to try to provide food for everyone. Healthy food helps people to stay well because it has lots of important nutrients. When people grow food, they help themselves and other people too. Some people have a garden or other land where they can grow fruit and vegetables for family and friends. Maybe they can't provide all the food that they all need, but they can help. Farmers grow most of the food that people eat. In Asia, farmers grow a lot of rice, and in Europe, they grow a lot of wheat. In North America, farmers grow a lot of corn. Farmers also grow vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and onions, and fruits like apples, oranges, and bananas. Some farmers raise animals so that people can eat meat like chicken and beef.
Listen and practice.
Not enough food. People in some parts of the world have as much food as they need to be healthy. People in other parts of the world don't have enough to eat, and sometimes they are so hungry that they can die. In some places, people can't grow crops because the weather is too hot and dry or too wet. This often means that they don't have enough to eat. Sometimes, people can't buy food because of a war or a natural disaster like a bad storm. Maybe food is too expensive and people don't have enough money to feed themselves and their families. Around the world, more than 1 billion people don't have enough food. Without food and water, people can die after only 4 weeks.
Listen and practice.
Helping hungry people. Many people work to help others who don't have enough food. Some charities give people seeds so that they can grow food. Experienced farmers teach other farmers how to grow the strongest, healthiest crops, like corn or sugar cane. Some charities help farmers to become fair trade farmers. Fair trade farmers usually sell their crops straight to stores and supermarkets so that the farmers get more money. This helps them to buy more seeds and to grow more food. Now scientists are even making seeds that can grow with little water. In some countries, scientists have learned to make rain. They put special chemicals into very cold clouds.
Listen and practice.
Water for everyone. Our planet Earth and almost everything on it needs water. Without water, plants, animals, and people would die. In some places, there's a lot of water. In other places, there isn't enough water, and this makes life very difficult. A lot of water is used for farming. Crops need water to grow, and animals drink water. In industry, people use water to help machines to work, and so that they can make the things that we need and enjoy. Water is also important at home. We drink water. We use water to wash ourselves, clothes, and dishes, and to clean the home. We also use water when we flush the toilet.
Listen and practice.
Working with water. Many people work to provide water for farming and industry and for the home. Most of the fresh water that people use comes from rivers, lakes, or under the ground. People build reservoirs to store this water. They also build pipes to take it to different places. In places where there isn't enough water, volunteers sometimes work with local people to build wells to provide water for families. They also help to keep water in wells and springs as clean as possible. Most of Earth's water is salt water in the oceans or frozen into ice. Only about 1% can be used by people for drinking, cooking, washing, farming, and industry.
Listen and practice.
Clean water. If people drink or touch dirty water, they can get very sick. People need clean water to stay healthy. People in richer countries are lucky because they have all the clean water that they need. In the water industry, people use chemicals to clean the dirty water that people have used. In many poor countries, people have no clean water. Every day, they have to use dirty water for cooking, drinking, and washing. More than 1 billion people don't have clean water to drink. In some countries, charities give people life straws. Life straws make dirty water clean and safe to drink.
Listen and practice.
Saving water. Today there are about 6 billion people on our planet. Every day there are more. Many people don't have enough water, or they have to travel a long way to collect water. We need to do things now to make sure that people in the future will have enough water. We can all help to save water. Don't use too much water when you wash your hands and face, brush your teeth, and wash the dishes. Turn off the water when you have enough. Put water in the refrigerator so that you don't have to turn on the water and use lots of it every time you want a cold drink. Take a shower, not a bath. If you have to take a bath, don't fill the bathtub.
Listen and practice.
I hate using taxis here. The drivers drive too fast and really dangerously, and they're often rude. The cars are mostly in pretty poor condition. But what I hate the most is that they aren't air-conditioned. It's so hot here. They really need air-conditioned taxis. By the time I arrive somewhere, I feel really hot and uncomfortable.
Listen and practice.
I find that taxis here are okay. They're pretty comfortable. Most of the cars they use are new, and they keep them pretty clean. They're a little expensive, though. I paid $75 to come from the airport. That's too expensive. I guess the thing I hate the most, though, is that the drivers don't speak English very well. It's very difficult to explain to them where you want to go.
Listen and practice.
The taxis here are okay, I guess. The drivers take credit cards. That's the thing I like most about them. It's really convenient. But the taxis are pretty old, so they're not very comfortable. Half of them don't have seat belts or air conditioning.
Listen and practice.
Oprah Winfrey is a famous American TV talk show host. 49 million people in 134 countries watch her show every week. She lives in California, but she also has an apartment in Chicago where she works. Oprah is one of the richest women in America. She earns millions of dollars every year. She gives a lot of money to charity. She was born on January 29, 1954, in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. Her parents were very poor. Her father, Vernon Winfrey, worked in a coal mine, and her mother, Vernita, cleaned houses. They couldn't look after Oprah, so she lived with her grandmother, Hattie Mae. Oprah was clever. She could read before she was 3, and when she was 17, she received a scholarship to Tennessee State University, where she studied drama. She also started reading the news at the local radio station. In 1984, Oprah moved to Chicago to work on a TV talk show called AM Chicago. She talked to lots of interesting people about their problems. Oprah says, "People's problems are my problems." The show was very successful, so in 1985, it was renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show. In 1993, she interviewed Michael Jackson, and 100 million people watched the program. Last year, she earned $260 million. In 1998, Oprah started the charity Oprah's Angel Network. This helps poor children all over the world. In 2007, she opened a special school in South Africa, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. She says, "When I was a kid, we were poor, and we didn't have much money. So what did I do? I studied hard." There are 152 girls at the school. Oprah calls them her daughters, the children she didn't have in real life.
Listen and practice.
Help for refugees. Some emergencies are because of a natural disaster like a tsunami or an earthquake. Others are because of something that people do, like fighting in a war. In emergencies, people need help very quickly. People become refugees when they have to leave their home in an emergency or when their home is lost. There are millions of refugees in the world. Most refugees have had frightening experiences. They have often lost everything: their home, their job, and their school. Maybe they have lost people in their family, too. They often live in refugee camps, special places where refugees can live and be safe.
Listen and practice.
Refugees try to help themselves, but this can be very difficult. They usually need help from others too. Refugees need food, water, and somewhere to live. They also need to see a doctor if they have been hurt or if they are sick. Sometimes a country's government cares for refugees. International organizations like the United Nations usually help too. Charities are also important. Some charities help to build refugee camps and to give refugees food and clothes. Other charities help people who are hurt or sick. Charities also help refugees to go back to their home when it's safe.
Listen and practice.
I'm a flight attendant. Many people think it's a boring job, but I love it. I get to travel all over the world, and I meet lots of interesting people. I like that. The job is pretty easy, really. We don't work non-stop for the whole flight. We have plenty of time to sit down and take a break. On long flights, we can even take a nap. Also, the money is very good because all our expenses are paid when we're working.
Listen and practice.
There's a new Chinese restaurant just 5 minutes from my house. It's a very simple place. A little boring inside, actually. Just a few tables in an empty room. They need to add more dishes to the menu, too. Right now, they only serve 4 or 5 things, but they're all delicious and very cheap. You can get a good meal there for around $15. All the people who work there were very friendly and helpful, so I left a good tip.
Listen and practice.
The tsunami in Indonesia, 2004. One of the worst natural disasters happened in Indonesia on December 26th in 2004. A huge earthquake under the Indian Ocean caused a giant wave or tsunami that traveled thousands of kilometers across the ocean at great speed. By the end of that day, more than 150,000 people had died. Many thousands more people were hurt, and millions of people in many countries lost their homes. Lots of people helped after the tsunami. Families, friends, and neighbors helped each other. Many people came from countries all around the world to help too. Governments sent workers to help, and charities sent volunteers. One of the biggest jobs was to clean up the beaches and towns. People saved things like wood and stones to build new homes and buildings.
Listen and practice.
There's a new Chinese restaurant just 5 minutes from my house. It's a very simple place. A little boring inside, actually. Just a few tables in an empty room. They need to add more dishes to the menu, too. Right now, they only serve 4 or 5 things, but they're all delicious and very cheap. You can get a good meal there for around $15. All the people who work there were very friendly and helpful, so I left a good tip.
Listen and practice.
The earthquake in Haiti, 2010. Another terrible natural disaster happened on January 12th in 2010. There was a huge earthquake near Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti. More than 250,000 homes were damaged, and thousands of other buildings were destroyed. more than 200,000 people died. About 300,000 more people were hurt, and more than 1 million people lost their homes. The people of Haiti worked with many people from other countries who came to help. One of the most important jobs was to care for people who had been hurt and to find people who were lost. Dogs also helped to rescue people from under damaged buildings. People helped to get food and clean water to everyone, and medicines to people who were sick. They also made refugee camps for people who had lost their homes.
Listen and practice.
Caring for animals. There are more than 6 billion people in the world, but there are very many more animals. Lots of people help animals. Veterinarians, or vets, care for animals. Some vets work in veterinary centers in towns and cities. People take their pets, like cats and hamsters, when they are sick or hurt, or for vaccinations. Other vets go to farms, wildlife parks, and zoos to care for animals. These vets are caring for a snow leopard in a zoo. Snow leopards are very rare. There are only about 4,500 wild snow leopards in Asia.
Listen and practice.
The airport is far away from the city, and it's a pretty horrible place. It's very crowded, and there aren't many facilities there, like stores or restaurants. Anyway, my flight was okay. It was a bit bumpy. The food was awful, though. It was dry and tasteless. The service was fantastic. The flight attendants did their best to make everyone feel comfortable. The worst problem was the other passengers. The plane was full of loud college students on their way to spring break in Florida. Next time, I won't travel during spring break.
Listen and practice.
Animal charities. There are lots of animal charities. Some charities are small, and they help local animals. Other charities are large international organizations that help animals all around the world. Charities help animals in many ways, but they need money to do this. Many people give money to animal charities. Some people give money to adopt an animal. The animal stays in its home, but the charity uses the money to help to keep it safe. Some volunteers from an animal charity in Germany collect toads that are migrating near dangerous roads. Then they take them to a safer place.
Listen and practice.
I had the worst thing happen to me this morning. I was running to catch the bus, and I was talking on my cell phone at the same time. Anyway, it was raining hard, and just as I got to the bus stop, I dropped my phone in a gigantic puddle. Some nice man helped me find it. It was completely soaked. The man told me to take the battery out and let all the parts dry out during the day. It sounded like a good idea, so I tried it. I put the battery back this afternoon and tried to make a call, but it doesn't work at all. Now I'll have to go to the phone store and get a new one.
Listen and practice.
I used to lift weights, but I didn't really enjoy it. So that's when I started swimming. Now I do it about twice a week. It's much more fun. I go to a nice pool near my office. It's never too crowded, which is great. There are friendly people who go there, so it's a good place to meet people.
Listen and practice.
I used to lift weights, but I didn't really enjoy it. So that's when I started swimming. Now I do it about twice a week. It's much more fun. I go to a nice pool near my office. It's never too crowded, which is great. There are friendly people who go there, so it's a good place to meet people.
Listen and practice.
This campus is really beautiful. It's like a park. There are lots of plants and trees everywhere. That was one of the reasons I decided to come here. Another was the teachers. I heard the teachers were really great, but a lot of them don't seem to be very interested in teaching. They give boring lectures, and they don't seem to have time to talk to students after class. Another problem is my schedule. I have trouble getting into the classes that I need. It's because the school is overcrowded. However, the other students I've met have been really great. I've made some wonderful friends.
Listen and practice.
I've been at this school for 2 years now. It's not the most attractive campus. The buildings are ugly. They look like cement blocks. And there are hardly any trees or plants. One thing that I do like here is the gym. It's a great place to go between classes. You can swim in a beautiful pool, and the workout room has modern equipment. It's funny that the gym looks so nice, while the rest of the campus doesn't. I'm pretty happy with my classes, and my teachers are very helpful. They have plenty of time to see you outside of class. I have a great schedule right now. All of my classes start in the afternoon, so I can sleep in. I love sleeping in.
Listen and practice.
I'm afraid I haven't been happy here at all. I think I made a mistake. It costs a lot of money, but just isn't worth it. The classes are really boring, and they don't seem very useful. I want to take a computer science class, and they don't even teach that here. I haven't made many friends either. Everyone thinks it's so easy to meet people, but the other students seem very unfriendly to me. They do have a lot of interesting clubs. There's a photography club I might join. One thing that's nice is the campus. It's very attractive. There are a lot of trees and nice places to sit outside. There's even an outdoor cafe. I guess that's what you're paying for.
Listen and practice.
I came here because I wanted to study art. The photography department is famous. The teachers are well-known working artists. Some people think that just because you're good at something doesn't mean you can teach it. But the teachers here are great. The campus is really just a building downtown, so it isn't very nice to look at. There's no gym or cafeteria or clubs or anything. My schedule is terrible. All my classes are at 8 in the morning. That's hard for me because I like to stay up late and work on my photos. I'm so busy that I haven't really paid much attention to the other students. But they seem very nice. Sometimes at art schools, the students are too competitive. I think this place is different though.
Listen and practice.
Saturday morning, I got a phone call from an old school friend. I haven't seen her for a long time. She was one of my closest friends in high school, but she moved to Los Angeles for work. She was in town for 4 days, so she invited me to a restaurant for lunch. We had such a pleasant time together. She was telling me about her job in Los Angeles. It sounds really interesting. And she works for a movie company, and she has to find places where they can film movies. You know, places like restaurants, hotels, lobbies, parks, and streets.
Listen and practice.
Protecting life on Earth. There are many millions of species of plant and animal. They live all around us, on land, in water, and in the air. Without them, Earth and everything on it would die. Species are important in many ways. All species need each other. Animals eat plants, and some animals eat other animals too. People eat plants and animals. People also use plants as medicines and in industry. All individual plants and animals die, but when every plant or animal in a species has died, the species is extinct. This means that it's lost forever. When one species dies, maybe others that need it will die too. People need to protect all the plants and animals on Earth. If they don't, many species will become extinct in the future.
Listen and practice.
Helping our planet. For millions of years, there has been life on our planet Earth. Earth has everything that people, animals, and plants need: air, water, and land. Everyone should care for our planet. People damage Earth with pollution that comes from vehicles like cars and planes, and from electricity used at home and in industry. To make electricity, people burn fossil fuels like coal and oil. This makes too many gases like carbon dioxide, and they make Earth too warm. Many scientists think that this is changing Earth's climate. Some countries are becoming colder and wetter. Others are becoming hotter and drier. People use a lot of land to build towns and cities. They cut down millions of trees to clear land so that they can grow crops and keep animals. All these things can damage the environment and many of Earth's species of plants and animals.
Listen and practice.
Protecting the environment. Governments, charities, and individuals are working to find ways to protect the environment. Environmental campaigners teach people about problems like pollution. They talk to governments and news reporters. They tell people about ways to stop pollution. Many volunteers help to protect the environment after a disaster. For example, they clean beaches after an oil spill, or they plant new trees after a fire. Some scientists have found ways to make clean electricity that does not use fossil fuels. Instead, they use energy from the sun, wind, or water. This is important because we all need electricity, but there won't be fossil fuels forever. Today, most cars, buses, and trucks use gasoline that's made from oil. Some engineers have designed cars and buses that use biogas instead. Biogas can be made from waste or from plants.
Listen and practice.
Some friends and I were on vacation in China last summer. I went shopping one day and got some really fabulous things. I got nice running shoes and tennis clothes. I thought the prices were reasonable, and I hate bargaining, so I just paid the price they asked. The next day, one of my friends went back to the same store and decided to bargain. She got things for much cheaper prices than I paid. Next time I go traveling, I'll be sure to bargain when I buy something.
Listen and practice.
I just got a new neighbor in the apartment upstairs from me. I haven't met her yet, but I can hear her TV set every night because she turns the volume up really high. She should really be more considerate of her neighbors.
Listen and practice.
I guess I really need to get some exercise outside, in nature. Right now, I exercise all the time, but it's always indoors. I lift weights at an indoor gym, and I go swimming every weekend at an indoor pool. I even go jogging on an indoor track. I was watching TV last night when a bicycling competition came on. Now, I'm totally excited about bicycle racing. I would really love to try it.
Listen and practice.
I was a big athlete in high school. All I did was swimming, swimming, and more swimming. But I work now, and I never go swimming. I know that I should exercise more, but I'm just too lazy. Jogging? That's way too much work, and it really makes my knees hurt. A lot of people I know are into bicycling, but I don't have a bike. I guess there's tennis, though. My wife loves it and wants to teach me how to play. I'd like to play, I think.
Listen and practice.
Exercise is really important to me. I like doing things where I keep active, things that are good for my health. My roommate isn't like that at all, though. He wakes up and surfs the internet for hours. Then he plays his guitar in his room all afternoon. I just hate sitting around indoors. I especially hate surfing the internet. I want to meet other people. I also want to get out and visit new places, like out in the country, where you can see some real nature.
Listen and practice.
After my husband got sick last year, the doctor told him to lose 20 pounds. Since then, I've been trying to help him lose the weight by exercising with him. There isn't much we can do together, though. We sometimes jog in the morning, but when he works late, he doesn't want to wake up early. Our community center has an aerobics class in the evening, but he won't go. He says it's just for women, so neither of us does that. He wanted to try weightlifting, but the doctor said it was too dangerous. So, now I'm thinking about getting him golf lessons. For both of us, actually. The walking might even be a little romantic, too.
Listen and practice.
I try to stay very active. I play tennis with my daughters every weekend, and I go golfing every day. I used to lift weights too, and I'm talking about heavy weights. But I had to stop recently because I had to have an operation on my back. Now I'm really worried that I'll have to stop playing tennis and golf too. I don't really have a lot of hobbies or interests besides sports, so I really need to keep doing them. The doctor said swimming would help my back improve, so maybe I'll try that.
Listen and practice.
I live in a big city, so I love being around lots of people. My brother is completely the opposite. Last weekend, he took me to the country to go bird watching. I was so bored the whole time. I like talking to people and doing creative things. I'd just love to get all my friends together at my apartment in the city and do something. We could have a dinner party maybe. Or we could bring over some guitars and drums and stuff like that and sing and dance.
Listen and practice.
I grew up near Chicago. I really wanted to be a gym teacher at a school. I love sports, and I used to play them a lot. After I graduated, I tried to get a job as a gym teacher in my town, but I couldn't. I didn't want to move away because my father was sick, so I had to find something else to do. Well, I was always kind of interested in cooking. My mom taught me to cook, and I often used to make meals for the family when I was a kid. Anyway, my dad's friend had a small restaurant, and he asked me if I'd like to help out. My first job was helping in the kitchen, and that's where I really learned to cook. I used to watch the chefs at work so that I could pick up their techniques. Then, a year later, the owner asked me to be one of the chefs. Then, a couple of years ago, I decided to open up my own restaurant. It's done really well. We have 3 chefs, and we're usually very busy, especially on the weekends.
Listen and practice.
Other ways to help Earth. If we all use less electricity, we will use fewer fossil fuels. This will reduce pollution. When we aren't watching television or using the computer, we should remember to turn them off. When we go out of a room, we should turn off the lights too. We shouldn't use very hot water to wash ourselves or our clothes because we use a lot of electricity to heat water. We all need things like beds, chairs, and tables. But many people buy too much. Making lots of new things uses lots of electricity. We should use things for as long as possible. This will use less electricity. We should also reuse or recycle things as much as possible. This will make less waste, which is good for the environment. When you turn off electricity, you can help to keep seals safe. Harp seals have their babies on the ocean ice in the Arctic. If Earth gets warmer, the ice will melt, and the seals could be threatened. In small ways, we can help the environment in a big way. We can all help our planet.
Listen and practice.
The man who lives next to me is moving. I can't say that I'm too upset about it. He's lived next to me for almost 5 years, but I don't think he's spoken to me more than 3 or 4 times. Sometimes I'll wave to him in the morning, and he doesn't even wave back.
Listen and practice.
My neighbor Stacy is incredible. You wouldn't believe all the things she manages to get done. She works at a big law firm downtown and works really long hours. She also volunteers on the weekends. To top it off, her house is always spotless. I honestly don't know where she finds the time.
Listen and practice.
I work for a market research company. We do research for companies that are planning to develop new products. I call people and ask them questions about products they are using now. Sometimes I invite people to come to meetings. We discuss plans for new products with them. It's pretty interesting work. I've been doing it for nearly 15 years now, and I've got no plans to change jobs. The thing I really like about my job is that each month I'm working on something completely different, so it never gets boring.
Listen and practice.
I have my own design company. It's very small, just me and 2 assistants. I design brochures, advertisements for magazines, menus, and things like that. It's a very creative job. I started the company just 2 years ago, just after I graduated from design school. Things have gone pretty well for me. I have 2 big clients, and most of my work is for them. Sometimes I have to work very late at night if I have a big job to finish quickly. I always have plenty of work to do, and I am always busy.
Listen and practice.
I've had my own restaurant for 10 years. When I first bought this place, I thought it would be easy to run, but it's very hard work. I work long hours. Sometimes we're very busy and sometimes we're very slow. We usually have a lot of customers on the weekends. During the week, it's sometimes quiet. I never have a day off because there are always so many things to do. I don't do any of the cooking myself. I have 3 very good chefs to do that. Owning a restaurant is a tough job, but I love it. I don't want to do anything else.
Listen and practice.
I've always collected things, even when I was young. I used to collect everything. Comic books, baseball cards, you name it. But they're all packed away in boxes now. Now my favorite pastime is gardening. I spend all weekend outside with my flowers. I love seeing them change. That's what I like best about it, I guess. They're these little seeds at first, and then one day, they're big, beautiful flowers.
Listen and practice.
When I was a teenager, all I did was sit around playing video games. But I can't stand them anymore. I work in an office now, so I sit in front of a boring computer screen all day. Now I like being outdoors. I belong to a hiking group, and we go someplace different every weekend. I keep fit and healthy this way. The best thing is that I can make some really great friends.
Listen and practice.
I always loved reading as a kid, so for a long time I wanted to write children's books. I tried to do it for a few years after college, but it was really hard to come up with good stories. I guess I'm not very good with words. Now, I'm happy just painting. I've won a few prizes too, in art competitions, for my watercolours and oils. The pictures are important to me, though, not the prizes. What I enjoy most is creating pictures. It makes me so happy.
Listen and practice.
This is great. You can use it to clean the sofa or the inside of your car. It's rechargeable, so it runs for about 30 minutes when it's fully charged. Also, if you drop stuff on the carpet, it picks up the dirt very easily. It's very light, too, so it's really easy to use. It only has a small bag inside to collect the dirt, so don't forget to change the bag regularly. You can see when it's full through the plastic cover. Be sure to put it back on the charger after you use it, or the battery will run down and it won't work.